Welcome to the Navigator podcast. Welcome to the Navigate Academy, Module 36 podcast on the principles of job costing. With me today is Brad Dempsey, founder of Solutions 360 and primary architect of the Q360 ERP platform. Q360 is a system designed for systems integrators and similar labor-based companies, with one of the building blocks being job costing. Brad also has over 30 years of international project and financial management experience working with hundreds of systems integrators around the globe, from 5 million to over 500 million. Brad, thanks for participating in this podcast, supporting the principles of job costing.
My pleasure. It's a subject I'm pretty passionate about.
Well, I was about to say that you've been passionate about job costing for years. I mean, it's part of your DNA. I don't think you get out of bed without it.
Right.
So please define it in a broad brush and then share why it's so important, especially in a labor-based industry.
Absolutely. So I'm actually going to start with an analogy of football.
Okay.
So we're watching a football game, and the wide receiver catches a pass in the end zone. He jumps up to catch it, comes down, and one foot is out of bounds and one foot is inbounds. Does it count as a touchdown? No, because the rule book says he needs both feet inbounds for the score to count. So I want you to think about accounting that way. Accounting is a rule book for business, specifically for the finance of business. So when we talk about these principles of job costing, revenue recognition, whether revenue is cash, it's all based upon the rule book. And if we want to be successful in business, we have to understand the rules. So let's take that to job costing. So in a lot of businesses, they do what's called process accounting. And that's more like in the manufacturing sector, where you're creating a certain number of widgets per day, and you've got inputs and outputs, and you're constantly creating these products and selling them and shipping them. Job costing revolves around the fact that we have projects, and a project has a defined scope, it has a start, and it has an end. So job costing is really about the rules and how we measure the success and performance of a project. It's that simple.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and then in that project-based environment, I've had lots of people say, well, man, it takes a lot of effort to set this up to give me the information. What are the essential steps?
Well, I would go back to, it takes a lot of effort to run a project well. And that not only includes setting up job costing, but the project management, the ordering equipment, everything is important. Job costing is a framework for planning and setting up your project for success to start with. And then it's the ability to measure as time goes on whether or not I'm following that plan. And if outside factors or something else affects my job, what do I do about it and what will the impact be? So the starting point, and we had a session on this a little while ago about closed loop estimates.
Yes.
The starting point is estimate. You've got to estimate in a way that allows you to plan out and structure your job. Because what a lot of our customers do is what's called percentage of completion job costing. And that starts with an estimate, and then measuring our actuals against our estimate to see when we actually earn revenue. So that's the most important starting block, is estimating well, and then setting up the tools to measure your progress on a regular, ideally a daily basis.
Got it. And then again, the work is keeping track. So who uses this information? How might they use it?
Well, obviously the project manager is one of the key users of this information because they're steering the ship. Operations management, because they're managing the fleet, the portfolio, as you frequently talk about. And then ultimately the financial staff need it to roll up into the overall financial information. But the companies that I see that are the most mature share this job costing information with the project team as well. Because if the team is aware of the performance of the project, they're the ones with feet on the ground that can actually do something to affect the outcome of the project. So the more they're aware, the better.
Got it. And I can see that, using it well, like I could see profitability. Where do you see people not using it? I mean, not tracking time well, not putting costs back into the project. What are some typically flaws that people use?
Well, I know you frequently talk about reality, about recording the truth. I think that's the biggest flaw. If my job costing does not reflect the truth, I can't make good business decisions based upon that. It just can't happen. Secondly, if you don't start well and you don't plan well, then you're off on a track where you're not going to be able to record well either.
Got it.
The other mistake I see people make is they don't look at it at the portfolio level as well. You know, like you say, you've got a boat and the boats create a fleet and you have to manage your fleet. So when we're looking at resources and we're looking at job costing, we can't look at them in isolation. You know, a delay in one job is an opportunity for another job to gain revenue and gain work.
Right. Again, if I'm managing it at that portfolio level.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's again, it's a philosophy. It's also a tool to use. What would you give, newer owners or executives who are just kind of thinking through this? How do I do it? Should I do it? Is it worthwhile doing? What guidance would you give them?
Well, obviously, because of the way I feel about job costing, it's worthwhile doing. It's necessary to do for a successful company. I mean, and you can be profitable, as we've talked about before,
Right.
but still leaving a lot of money on the table, still not having a scalable business, still saving your projects through heroics, at the end. So, I would embrace job costing as a way of improving your profitability, improving your employee satisfaction, improving the quality of product you deliver to your customers. It just benefits the organization top to bottom.
Got it. Appreciate it. We're always in building our library.
Yes.
What new business book are you reading, and what are you learning?
Well, I'm actually just started a new book. It's called What's in It for Them, and it's by Joe Polish.
Okay.
It's interesting. Joe's been called the most connected person in business, and it's really about win-win relationships. It's about focusing on what you can provide for other people and what you want kind of comes in return. So I just started, but so far so good. I like it.
Awesome. Yeah, I was talking to somebody about the platinum rule the other day, and they're like, "What rule?" And I'm like, "Do unto others as they would have you do unto them."
Exactly.
Like, well, that's not right. And I'm like, well, no, that's why it's called the platinum rule.
Yeah.
So, and again, really getting over there and talking to them. So awesome. Thank you, sir. Good to see you.
Thank you. Good seeing you.
Bye-bye.
Take care.